one methodology. What do you mean by methodology? Methodology means they have defined so many methods and they have saved in the library. As a user, you have to know how can I use those things. So one by one we will go why UVM is important or why it is easy, always preferable to use UVM for verification. Okay, so first important concept in UVM, it is factory overriding. So now let in your environment you have two drivers, driver 1, driver 2. So now you have verified with respect to driver 1. Now you want to replace the driver 2 in place of driver 1. Then what you have to do, you have to change the hierarchical path. So what is the hierarchical path means? Just wait. So here it is test bench, then environment, scoreboard, monitor, driver, let generator, let here you have another driver. So this is driver 1 and this is driver 2. So now you are going to call this driver 2's, whatever the methods, whatever the functions you have in this environment. So now, so if you remember, that is like a driver 1 object dot run function or driver 1 object dot any of the function that you have written. But whenever you are replacing this driver 1 by driver 2, then again you have to go to environment and there you have to change it. That driver 2 dot run function. Okay, so you, again I'm saying, okay, in the environment, let you are using driver 1, so driver 1 object. Then dot whatever you want to do. But if you want to use driver 2, then you have to write driver 2. So like in the large project, it is not preferable that you always have to go inside the code and change the hierarchical path. Okay, so what in UVM they have generated the concepts of factory registration. That means whatever the objects you will be creating, all the objects should be registered with factory. Factory means you can think it as a lookup table. Lookup table. In that lookup table, the object name and object type both are stored. Now, whenever you want to replace one component, by another, just use factory overriding. No need to change hierarchical path. That means if I am using the factory overriding method, then let I have written driver 1 object. So here only driver 2 object will be replaced. Instead of this driver 1, okay, like driver 1 object, here driver 2 object will be replaced. We will see whenever I'm explaining this with respect to code. So this is just the basics. So first one is factory overriding. Why we need a factory? What is the demerit in as we have in the system Verilog? If I want to replace one component by another, then I have to change the hierarchical path. So this is always not feasible. Okay, if we have large project, then we cannot always remember what is the hierarchical path and we cannot change it. So the better way is do the factory registration. In factory registration, we don't have to change the hierarchical path. For factory, use factory overriding, we don't have to change the hierarchical path. But for factory overriding, you have to do the factory registration. Okay, so in factory overriding there are 3 steps. First, factory registration, then create the object using create method. Wherever in SV we were creating object using new method. Okay, then if you want to do, you can do factory overriding. Okay, so these are the 3 steps you have to follow. So first one completed, that is factory overriding. Next, second is config DB, or you can say configuration database. So now here let one example interface. Interface, it is used by more than one component like monitor and driver. So what you are doing, you are passing that interface. If you want to like same interface should be shared by monitor and driver, then you are passing that interface as an argument of constructor, or you can use static also, static by static method also. So you are following these two methods. Okay. Again, for 1-2 kind of interface, it's okay. Let you are having like 4, 5, 6, 7 this kind of interfaces. Then it is like not feasible to pass this interface like this, like the argument of the constructor. Okay, and next question, next point is, okay, in the interface again, that hierarchical path also comes. If you have remembered, okay, in the driver, you are writing clocking block. Sorry, you have not used clocking block. In the driver, you are writing that interface name dot whatever the signals you are writing. Okay, so here the disadvantage. Just 1 minute. Okay, so we are passing that interface as an argument to the constructor. Let this is one interface. Okay, so let there are this kind of 10 variables. Okay, that you want to share by more than one component, driver, monitor, or it can be generator. If you have remembered number of repeat blocks also we are passing. Okay, that should be constant, like same for driver, from monitor, from generator, like this. So all the things I cannot pass as an argument, and all the things it is also not feasible like to declare as a static method inside another class. Okay, so in the UVM what they have done, whatever you want to share by the components, declare in the top class. This is your top. Let there are so many. This is your test bench, then environment. Then here is your scoreboard, monitor. There are other classes. So now let you want to share something that should be shared by these 3 classes. So you can store that variable using config db method in this class. So if you are storing this in this class, so whatever the classes inside this class, they can access this variable. But this class cannot access this variable. Whatever the class below it, they can access. Let you want that all the classes should be accessed that variable. Okay, so you can store in the top. If you are storing here, then this class can access, this class can access, this class can access. So config db means it is the like it is a mechanism to access a database. In the database, you can store scalar value, object value, queues, class handle, like object. Okay, class handle means object only, virtual interface, etc. So mechanism to access a database that can be stored in one component and can be received in another component. So you can think like, okay, there will be some database or storing this kind of things. So now using some predefined method, you have to store it. When you want it, you can use it. This is known as your configuration database. So this is the another advantage of the UVM. Okay. So next is your Tlm port. Tlm port, you can think that like it is the replace of mailbox. Okay, so again, what was the disadvantage with the mailbox? So this is driver and this is generator. And this is your mailbox. So the same mailbox should be shared by the driver and by the monitor. Again, here the same issue. We have to make sure that same mailbox is used. If you are doing some silly mistakes, then a different mailbox will be created. You will not get the correct required output. Okay. So this mailbox means it is one component. So you have to take care that every time you are using same component should be used for these two things. So they have removed this disadvantage, and what they have done, instead of this mailbox, they are doing port to port connection. Now a driver has one port. In your UVM, instead of generator we use sequence. Sequence have another port. So you just have to make the connection. So now here later, okay, so just think here there are two drivers. Two or three drivers. Here there are two type of okay, not one, let one driver, three generators. Then three generator, they at a time cannot put the values in the mailbox, otherwise values will be mixed. Okay, so what can you do? For this there will be one mailbox, for this there will be one. Okay, let me again explain this. Here there is a driver. Here there is one generator. Let you want to generate different for scenarios. Okay, let FIFO for write, for read, different generators you are using. So now different generators, if they are putting the data in the same mailbox, then data will be mixed. Which one you are calling at which time, that will be not simplified. Okay, so you can put this is in another, this is in another, this is another. So now the complexity arises. So at what time, what driver should be connected? Because all these three should be passed to the driver as an argument. So how the connection will be done? So like this, if the number of generators increases, then this complexity will increase. So instead of using this mailbox, what we can do, this has one port, this is another port, this is another port. So now depending on the condition, you can make this port to this port connection, or you can make this port to this port connection, or you can make this port to this port connection. That this is like P1, this is P2, this is P3, and this is P. So you can write it connect P to P1, connect P to P2, connect P to P3. So this one is very easy. Okay. So next advantage is the Tlm port. Port means here port to port connection is there. In normal mailbox, we had to make sure which mailbox we make sure to connect properly generator to driver, or it can be monitored to scoreboard also. Okay, let you have 4-5 number of scoreboards. Okay, you want to check your data with 4-5 different logic. You have 4 and 5 different scoreboard. So here also, like how to send the data to all the scoreboard. Okay. So in the mailbox, we have to make sure to connect properly generator driver. If more number of generators are there, become complex. Okay, so here port to port means you just have to connect the port. Okay, we'll see also these things when we'll go there. This is just the introduction. Okay. Next, fourth point. Okay, so fourth point is there UVM callback.